What's up, everybody? It's Shakey Marcus here, coming at you with a brand new video.
Today we're going to be talking about how to calculate ARV like an investor.
So, I know some of you guys may be working with realtors and they kind of calculate things a little differently, but we're going to show you how to do it just as an investor does it, just like we do it. So, I hope you stay and watch this video through the end because it's going to be like a two-part series. So, we're going to go from how to calculate ARV. And in the next video, we're going to be talking about how to analyze deals using the ARV. So stick around for both. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video if you do, comment down below, let us know if you liked it and any other future videos you want to see. So without further ado, let's get to it.
Hey everybody. I'm coming to you today to do a video on how investors figure out ARV. Gonna be bringing some fire, but not so much. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather if you can't tell, but you know, still a good day. Rocking my Astros shirt. I think we played Indiana today, but yeah, hoping for the win for the Rockets and the Astros. You know, I always have to roll with the home team. Anyway, let's get to it. So we're gonna figure out how investors run ARV, because what I found is sometimes the way investors run ARV is a little bit different from the way the typical realtor will run it. I just recently found that out, but it's all good. We all do things differently, and this is just the way we do it as investors. So first of all, what is ARV? ARV is the after repair value, meaning after you've made all the repairs, after you've done all the updates, what can you sell that property for? So that's what ARV means when you hear me or any other investor use the term ARV. So some of the things investors take into consideration when running a comp, and also a comp, your comps are going to tell you what your ARV is. Yep. So what other houses in the area have sold for? I kind of gave away one of my bullet points, but what other houses in the area had sold for is going to give you basically the ARV of whatever property you're running comps on. So you want to take into consideration also square footage, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, attached and detached garages. If it has a garage at all, you want to take that into consideration. Pools and other amenities, and I'm not talking pools for the neighborhood. I'm talking about if it has like an in-ground, and not even like backyard, not above ground pool, because that's something that can be removed. Yep. We're talking in-ground pools or other things like built-in outdoor kitchens and stuff like that. Upgrades like that is gonna, bring up the value a bit depending on what area you're in. And like I mentioned earlier, other houses that have sold within the last 6 months. Some areas don't have houses that sell that frequently. Sometimes it's a good thing, so you may have to go back a little further, 9 months, 12 months. I would not go any further than 12 months. If you can't get an ARV from that, I don't know. We've never run into that, but typically we go back 12 months, you pretty much can get some sort of ARV. Also, the year built. We don't always take that into consideration if it's within the same neighborhood, but you'll find some neighborhoods that are like some of the downtown or some of the more hip areas in whatever town you live in. Like for us, we have something called the Heights. We also have something called Midtown, things like that. They have some very older houses that are like from the 30s, 40s, 50s, but you also have very new construction. Yep. So you have to take year built into consideration when you're doing something like that. And so you can't take a new build as a comp for a property that is like from the 40s or 50s. Yeah. So, and some other very important things that you want to use when you're evaluating a deal are closing costs, royalty fees, and days on the market. But I'm going to save that for another video. So we're just going to basically go over some comps on a property that I was sent by another wholesaler. We were actually considering purchasing this property, and I just want to go through and show you all how I ran the comps and how I evaluated the deal and came up with what the house would be worth after we go in and do the rehab and repairs.
Yep.
So first, the system that we use here in the Houston area is called HAR, and it basically you know, you have to be a realtor to use it, to log in and get all of the comps and everything. So we work with a realtor, and she's able to pull comps for us. And so you basically log in and you put all the information in. I'll go over that, and then also for the county we live in, which is, well, one of the counties in the area where we live in is Harris County, which is where this property was. You want to find whatever the appraisal district website is for wherever you live or wherever you run in comps on the property, and you want to go in and put in that property address. It's not always, it doesn't always look exactly like this, but I'll show you what it looks like once you pull it up. Marcus, you want to help me out here? Thank you. So the first thing I do is this is actually what comes up after you type in the address and everything on the appraisal district when you're dealing with Harris County. It's pretty much the same anytime you're gonna want to look at the appraisal district. It doesn't necessarily look like this, but it gives you all of this information. So we have the total square footage for the living area. Also, I don't really look at any of this, but this is tax information. And also it gives you the market value for last year and this year, the appraised value. But this is not I misstated. This is the appraised value on the appraisal website. A lot of times this is not the market value. It does not compare. And I'll show you that in a minute. As you can see, this says 168. The number I came up with, the amount that we can sell this property for, is a whole lot different from this 168 number. Yeah. So again, and also this is just a screenshot, but also at the bottom of the appraisal website, you will also see the year that the property was built. So if you're ever wondering, you always can go to your appraiser's website and you can see the square footage for the living area as well as the land. And also the appraised value and the year it's built. Some of them even have like bedrooms, the number of bedrooms, and also how much the person purchased the property for. It just depends on which appraisal district you're dealing with.
So if you guys are wondering why we're using screenshots, it's because we were sent this deal and I didn't know if it was okay to share. Right. Like that person's name, address, and all that kind of stuff. Right. Not trying to get in any trouble here. We're just trying to teach you guys how we go about evaluating the deal. So that's why we actually had to crop out like the name and address and all that stuff. So.
Right. Okay. So so here, after going back to the HAR website, after you pull the comp, this is what comes up. It comes up with all of the homes in the area that fit the criteria of what you put in. And the criteria that we usually use is just the address. It's that simple. A lot of realtors, and that's great because they want to get the best price they can for whatever home they're selling or whatever home their client is wanting to purchase. But for us, we like to keep it simple. And the reason why we put it in like that is to make sure we come up with the widest range of comps that we can, so we can evaluate it on our own. Yep. So for this one, it came up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 comps for the area, and what I usually like to, and the criteria. So we look at houses that are no more than a quarter mile away from the property. So and we just put in the property address. And this house that was sent to us is a 4-bedroom. So as you can see, all of this information has comps in the addresses of the comps in the area. It has the subdivision of the comps, and I can tell you that the comp we're looking at are all in this same subdivision, and some of them have different sections. Sometimes you can look at the sections because, again, it goes back to the year built. Some sections, some neighborhoods start off with very old houses, and then they'll start off with the new ones. But in this case, they're all pretty much built around the same time frame. As you can see here, we have everything from like 1970 to 1964, which is not a very wide range. And also, square footage comes up when you're running a comp. Unless it's just really far off where you have like an 800 square foot house and like a 2,500 square foot, we're taking all of them into consideration because they're all 4 bedrooms. This 3 bedroom, not necessarily would not take that into consideration because we want to make sure that it's all 4 bedrooms. And this is after we've already put in the criteria for all these houses to come up. Then we start evaluating a little bit further and looking at these things. But from the very beginning, we only want to put in the property address and look at houses that a quarter of a mile away in the same neighborhood. That's it.
And if you can't find something that's a quarter away, because that happens too, you can extend it to like a half a mile or a mile. But we typically do not like to go more than a mile.
Right, because that's going to show you houses that like are down the street or around the corner within that same neighborhood. We don't like to go outside of that neighborhood either. Right. Like sometimes because we don't put in anything else other than the address in a quarter of a mile. Sometimes that house may be on the very edge of the neighborhood, so pull up houses crossing neighborhoods. We typically don't like to look at that. We like to look at ones that are within the same neighborhood because those people, whoever going to buy the house from us, are going to be getting the same amenities as whoever, whatever neighborhood the comp came up in. So that's this is what came up again when we put in the property address for the house that we were sent by the wholesaler. And I'll go ahead and tell you, I clicked these 4 here for a reason. If you look at the price, this one automatically, this is one of the first things I look at when after this page comes up. This and then this, because this 101 kind of tells me that this was probably another cash deal or another just investment deal. So I go and I look at the pictures of this one, and this is what I done with this one. And it was one that was in really bad condition and it sold for cash. So that's why it sold for $101 based on these other ones that are within the 150, 160, and 195 range. And also, I unclicked this one for 2 reasons. One, because this is a 3 bedroom, and also because it had a pool. If you remember on the sheet I just showed you, I like to compare apples to apples, and this would not be comparing apples to apples because all these other properties, including the one that we're looking to purchase, does not have a pool. So you can't really compare the two. Yep. So after looking at the pictures of all of these are ones that are nice and clean and not necessarily completely updated, but very livable conditions. Right. So I basically take the ARV of the ones that are very comfortable, which were these 4, and I'll show you a screenshot of what comes up next.
And these are sold properties, by the way.
Yeah,
that have sold within the last.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. I only ever look at houses that have sold. I only ever look at houses that have sold. I'm not really concerned with anything that's pending because that does not mean it's going to actually close. Right. I'm not concerned with anything that's active because I know I'm going to beat the competition when I do my rehab. I only look at what's active after I purchased it and before I'm going to put all of my upgrades into mine to make sure mine looks better than theirs. Yep. But that's another subject.
Can't use those numbers because, it's active and, it can be like active for one price and sell for something completely different.
And also it can be active for a very long time. Ours are never active for a very long time. Kudos to us, but we never typically have properties listed for double-digit days. Ours always have multiple offers on the first day.
That's because we do this part here right. You make your money when you buy.
So after I take these 4 comps, I want to run a CMA report on it, And after you run the CMA report, it's going to give you even more information. It's going to give you it's going to give you the prices sold for and the percentage for the sales price versus the list price. But more importantly, it's going to give you these numbers down here. And what I typically like to do is I take the average because, and I do the average. A lot of people, especially if you're a wholesaler, you will want to do the 106 to make sure you're going to be getting the highest bang for your buck. But I take this because I like to be conservative, and also because our lender is very, very conservative. So we only take the average of the comps that sold per square foot. So this is the average price per square foot of the ones that actually sold on our list here, the 4 we actually selected. So we came up with $88.58. Yep. And so what I didn't do, is I go back to my appraisal district. Make sure I got the square footage correctly. So we have 2247 square foot. And then I just want to multiply that by my average price per square foot for my comps. And we come up with $199,039 for the ARV for this particular property, which for us makes it a great deal because the wholesale was actually selling it for ARV of $185, so it's only going to be a better deal for us. And sometimes I just want to put this disclosure on there. Sometimes you'll come up with a number if your property that you're evaluating is much larger than any other properties here, where you pulled up on the comps, you'll come up with an ARV that is much larger than anything that's ever sold in the neighborhood. Then you have to humble yourself and say, I'm never going to sell for that price. And you want to make sure that you bring that number down a bit and make sure that you're adding upgrades that matches whatever other houses have sold for an area.
Yeah.
So I hope I brought y'all some value with this video. I hope I didn't confuse you. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you hit us up in the comment section.
Yep.
Give this video a like if you liked it. We're going to be coming with more how-to videos, more just giving value, giving information, because it's at this point we feel like it's an obligation for us. So
yeah, so if you like this video, comment absolutely down below, just so we're just trying to get a gauge of what you guys are liking, or if there's like a topic that you may have seen but it may not been that's all good, but it may not been covered in as much detail as you'd hope. Find the video somewhere else. Just let us know in the comments. We always read them. We pretty much reply to every comment we get. Anything else?
Nope. See you in the next video.
See you guys.
Peace.